Aloha, and thank you for taking time to join us today in this virtual online service. It has been quite a while since we had our last in-person Sunday service at the temple, but the present-day situation of COVID-19 necessitates that we avoid social gatherings and have to use technology as a means of transmitting the Dharma to all who listen and benefit from it. Whether online or in person, the Dharma is the Dharma. We listen to it, learn, and apply it in our daily lives. There is nothing that hinders the effects of the Buddha's teachings. So let us all listen as if we are physically present in the temple itself.
Oh
Let's put our palms together in Gasho. By oneself, the evil is done. By oneself, one suffers. By oneself, evil is left undone. By oneself, one is purified. Purity and impurity belong to oneself. No one can purify another. Hear the words of Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning. Welcome and thank you for tuning in to this morning's Sunday online service. It is the month of September already, and we're about 6 months into the terrible COVID-19 pandemic that has caused so much suffering to so many people around the world. However, it is always heartening to know that despite the physical restrictions on in-person congregating imposed out of necessity, the temples are continuing to conduct online services through technology. The Buddha Dharma is still very much alive, even in the darkest hour of this health crisis that we're all facing. This beginning of the new month of September, we are observing yet again one of the major holidays in Japanese Buddhism, called the Ohigan. We observe Ohigan twice a year, this being the autumn Ohigan or the autumnal equinox, and then the other one during the spring season or the vernal equinox. The equinoxes that occur 2 times during the year are periods when both nights and days become of equal length. As winter becomes spring, the nights which are longer becomes of equal length to the daylight hours, or vice versa. Thus, a state of equilibrium takes place. From the darkness of the winter season comes springtime. On the opposite side of the earth, in the southern axis, the reverse occurs. There summer season ends and winter begins. But still, it follows the same course in nature. The days and nights become of equal length. During this time of the equinoxes, people in ancient times perceived that the forces of nature were in perfect harmony, in balance, as contrasted to the extremes of both winter and summer. For this reason, the Ohigan is a time that we can appreciate the profound harmony and oneness of the universe. A harmony that is apparent when we are able to see beyond our limited self-centered views. Traditionally, it is a time of reflection on the path towards reaching the other shore of enlightenment through the 6 paramitas, which are giving, right behavior, endurance, patience, endeavor or effort, meditation, and wisdom. It is the Buddha's wisdom through meditation and careful observation that he taught the middle path, avoiding extremes of both too little or too much. Neither extremism led to his enlightenment. The observation of the Ohigan as a time of equilibrium, balance, and harmony is not unique to Buddhism nor Asian culture. Ancient civilizations and religions too notice the changes in the pattern of nighttime, daytime length as spring or autumn season approaches. And so, all kinds of festivals and rituals were created in the observance of the equinoxes. These natural cycles of the season soon were given meanings in the religious context. The winter season, being a time of cold temperature and plants and animals either die or hibernate, has come to represent darkness, evil, or death. Whereas the summer season, when plants that grow again from the ground become ripe and harvested during the fall or autumn, represents light, goodness, and life. In the Christian tradition, especially, their main spring holiday is Easter Sunday, the time when their God was crucified and resurrected back to life. It happens in the spring season, so to Christians, the onset of spring means the triumph of good over evil, of life over death. It is interesting to note that in most other religious traditions, there is a constant struggle between good and evil, with heaven, God, and angels representing all that is good, and hell, with the devil and other evil spirits, the denizens of the underworld, representing all that is bad. According to their religious beliefs, God and the devil are fighting for the souls of human beings. Those who choose good will be rewarded by God in heaven with immortal lives and constant pleasures, while those who choose evil will be cast in hell and punished for eternity. We are Buddhists, and we do not have this notion of a struggle between good and evil being fought by the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas on one side and the evil spirits on the other. We do have a concept of good and evil in Buddhism, but it is different from the Christian or other religious traditions' idea. Good in Buddhism is properly called wholesome action, and evil is unwholesome action. The word evil, has a different connotation in Buddhism. It could refer to a real malicious act, or just means unenlightened, as in the evil person we read in Jodo Shinshu books, the Bombu. Ordinary people think of evil in several different and conflicting ways. The two most common ways are: number one, evil as an intrinsic characteristic. It's common to think of evil as an intrinsic characteristic of some people or groups. In other words, some people are said to be evil. Evil is a quality that is inherent in their being. Number two, evil as an external force. In this view, evil lurks about and infects or seduces the unwary into doing bad things. Sometimes evil is personified as Satan or some other characters like Mara, who tempted the Buddha while he was meditating under the Bodhi tree. Buddhism rejects both ways of the definition of evil. The act of sorting humanity into good and evil carries a terrible trap. When other people are thought to be evil, it becomes possible to justify doing them harm. And in that thinking are seeds of genuine evil. Human history is thoroughly saturated by violence and atrocity committed on behalf of good, quote unquote, against people categorized as evil, quote unquote. Most of the mass horrors humanity has inflicted upon itself have come from this kind of thinking. People intoxicated by their own self-righteousness or who believe in their own intrinsic moral superiority too easily give themselves permission to do terrible things to those they hate or fear. Especially in time of war, we tend to demonize the enemy country. We categorize the people in that country we are at war with as bad, wicked people, conveniently forgetting that it's mostly the politicians and not the whole population who decide to go to war or can stop the fighting. Because we think of the whole enemy population as evil, we feel justified in recklessly bombing and killing even the civilians who are not involved in the fighting, nor even have the desire to fight. Some religions teach that evil is a force outside ourselves that seduces us into sin. This force is sometimes thought to be generated by Satan or various demons. The faithful are encouraged to seek strength outside themselves to fight evil by looking to God. The Buddha's teaching could not be more different. By oneself indeed is evil done. By oneself is one defiled. By oneself is evil left undone. By oneself indeed is one purified. Purity and impurity depend on oneself. No one purifies another. These are the words from the Dhammapada. Buddhism teaches us that evil is something we create, not something we are or some outside force that infects us. Yes, indeed, we create our own evil, our own hell, through our own unwholesome actions. There is no such thing as an inherently evil person in Buddhism, because everything a person is due to causes and conditions. Nobody is born purely evil. In Eastern philosophical thinking, a person has both elements of good and bad, the yin and yang principles, and it is in keeping these two elements in a delicate state of balance that harmony is achieved. Good and evil have often been looked upon as diametrically opposed and mutually exclusive. But in a real practical sense, such a simplistic way of thinking is unsatisfactory. Even the cruelest of criminals may possess a strong desire of love or compassion towards his parents and children. Is such a person fundamentally good or evil? The Buddhist understanding is that good and evil are innate, inseparable aspects of life. This view makes it impossible to label a particular individual or group as good or evil. Every single human being is capable of acts of the most noble good or the basest evil. This being the case, it is not appropriate in Buddhism to judge a person as good or evil in totality, for he has elements of both. Rather than labeling a person who has offended us as a bad or evil person, we can say that it is not him, but rather his actions or what he did that are bad. We all have the potential to do evil deeds if the causes and conditions are present. And same with doing good deeds. Our actions spring from our minds, good or bad. In the context of Buddhism, good is identified with the fundamental nature of enlightenment, or absolute freedom and happiness, resulting from profound knowledge. Evil indicates fundamental darkness, or life's innate delusion, which negates the potential of enlightenment and causes suffering for oneself and others. Ultimately, good and evil are just labels that we in this world of dualistic thinking attach to things to serve as points of reference. In the realm of enlightenment, both good and bad cease to exist. In the absence of bad, nothing can be called good. In the absence of good, nothing can be called bad. This is the concept of shunyata, or emptiness in Buddhism. Only the mind of the Buddha, the undiscriminating mind, remains in ultimate reality. Light and dark, winter and spring, struggle between good and evil, balance, harmony, equilibrium. These are just some of the ways humans look at the equinoxes or Ohigan from a religious perspective. The Ohigan, therefore, is not just about reaching the other shore of enlightenment, but it is also teaching us the middle way approach in life that Shakyamuni Buddha found very useful in his eventually becoming an enlightened person, a Buddha. The middle way that the Buddha taught teaches us to recognize that just like the equinoxes, we should try to live our lives in a state of balance, with wholesome acts acting as a deterrent or counter measure to offset unwholesome acts. It is key to awakening to be aware of what we really are, our potential to do the highest form of good or the lowest form of evil. Knowing so, we can cultivate the positive in us for the benefit of ourselves and others, and use it to keep the negative side of us from creating more karmic conditions that lead to suffering. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu.
With kindness in our voice.
Thank you again for joining us for this morning's online Sunday service. We hope that our means to provide online Dharma messages will continue to serve as our spiritual beacon as we navigate this most profound and difficult crisis. Let us remember the message of Ohigan and strive to live our lives in accordance with the Buddhist teachings on the middle path and achieve harmony and peace within ourselves and others. Please be safe and healthy. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu.
Hello everyone, how are you doing? Long time no see. I haven't seen everyone about 6 months because of the COVID-19. I miss Sunday service and all of you, especially the talk story we enjoyed at the after service refreshment time. This COVID-19 will surely draw to an end. So until then, please stay safe and keep well. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone. Hello 皆さん、お元気でしょうか？新型コロナウイルスの影響で毎週日曜日のお参りや3月のバザー、6月の盆踊りと皆さんに会津締まりで大変寂しい思いをしました。でもこの新型コロナウイルスも必ず収束する時が来ます。それまでどうぞお元気で毎日笑って明るくお過ごしください。それではまた会える日を楽しみにしてます。お元気でー。